Hey everybody, how's it going? Barry here. Today we're going to be talking about Pegasus. I know in the last video I said we'd be talking about like Beetle and whatnot. We'll get back to that eventually. Hero Fest kind of snuck up on me, and I am feeling sick. Quite sick, so my voice might sound different. I'll have to pause to like blow my nose and things like that throughout. But I did still really want to record this video before the Rebirth Festival ended and the video became irrelevant, because right now Pegasus Rebirth is still going on, so it is what's relevant. And yeah, let's go right into it, starting off with Fire. Of course, we will be getting to Beetle, the final, the legendaries, and then going on with other things in a little bit. I'm just gonna wait for my voice to get back to normal and whatnot. I passed Pegasus already. So here we are. Evo 1, very cool. Evo 2, also very cool. And Evo 3, very cool. Here's the variant. I like... This is a tough one. I think they both look very cool. I'm gonna go with the variant. Yeah, that's the one I'm gonna go with for now. Anyway, it is an attacker, and it has a pretty good attack stat. Its HP is okay. It's a little bit close to the low end for... well, actually, it's middle of the road for Nat 4 attackers. Middle of the road, but could be better. Could be better. Its defense is good, though. Very good for an attacker. Looking at its skills, so first off, the leader skill, we have Azure Spirit's Blessing, Blue Soul Recovery, 20 to 25%, and that is a pretty much useless leader skill. If you do make your Pegasus variant, it's just because you like the color scheme. Personally, I would recommend, if you do have variant Nat 4s lying around, Pegasus is one you should skip with those. Just don't go for the variant. Just because you're not going to be using the leader skill. Save it for another Nat 4 Rebirth Mon, like Thor or something, Harlequin. Things like that have much better leader skills among the 4-star Rebirth Mons. But anyway, going to the 3-star for Fire. So we got HP Siphon, just for itself. Skill books give a 30% damage boost, and then on 5-star we have Hunter, 40%. Skill books give a 25% damage boost there. Where you can use it, quite a few places. Fire Pegasus is actually pretty diverse in where you can use it. You can use it in PvP offense, does really well there. You can use it for farming, any story content, any content that has wood mons, the wood elemental dungeon, things like Lunar Valley, so on, Phantom Forest. You can use it in GB9 and DB8 as well. It'll do very well in those places. You can use it in Titans just as a general damage dealer. It will fall off, of course, as you get Courageous Strike and Unflinching Strike mons, but I quickly want to compare it to my Fire Succubus, since they do have a similar 3-star, so it can be used in a similar way. I did use my Fire Succubus on my Fire Titan team for quite a while, and I did manage to get her damage up to 3 mil, so it will be a while before Fire Pegasus falls off, unless you get really lucky and start getting like a bunch of Shinobis and Sun Wukong's early game. You'll be able to use Fire Pegasus for Titans for quite a while. Keep in mind, my Fire Succubus was built very well. That's why she was able to do so much damage. And honestly, Pegasus could probably do more, because he has a damage boosting skill on his 5-star, whereas Succubus doesn't. And then you can use him in Dark Colossus. His HP Siphon is very helpful there. I do have a video up on Dark Colossus that does show the HP Siphon method. There is, of course, the light nuking method you can go with, which I don't have a video on. But if you're interested in the HP Siphon method, you can definitely check that out, and you can see how Fire Pegasus would be good for that. And then you can use him in Wood Colossus just as a fire attacker. He will fall off, though, just because his damage boosting skill is on his 5-star, so he won't be using it too often. Or she. I think Pegasus is a female. Then lost my train of thought. Because it's damage boosting skills on its 5-star, it'll fall off when compared to mons that have their damage resistance skill on their 3-star, like Fire Shinobi, Poseidon. Both of them do very well there. But yeah, how I would build it offensively, it is crit required for its 5-star, so you need a square slot. So crit rate attack, crit rate attack, crit damage, something like that would be very nice. And then get your survivability from trinkets, of course. Now we have water. Here's the variant. I like them both, again, but I think I like the variant more. I like the darker colors, which sucks because I would never go for a variant with Pegasus, just because the leader skill isn't that great. Anyway, looking at the skills, she is a balanced type. She has a pretty balanced HP and defense stat, but her attack is a little bit lower than most balanced types, for Nat 4s at least. Normally we see them around the 26. 26 is like the low end that we typically see, so it'd be nice if that was a little bit higher. Besides that, can't really complain about the other stats. Looking at the the skills, 3-star is defense down, 80% 2 turns. Skill boost make it 90%, give a 20% damage boost. On 5-star we have silence, 80% 2 turns. Skill boost give a 30% damage boost there. See, the thing about water Pegasus and also wood, but we'll get more on wood later, is that their skills individually are pretty good, but combined aren't so great. Silence and defense down doesn't really mesh very well, so it's very limited in places that you'd find a use for water Pegasus. You can use it for PvP defense, where you take advantage of its silence, but its defense down on 3-star isn't that great, just because it'll make the AI for your defense team target a single mon, which you typically don't want for PvP defense, because if they're targeting one mon, the other mons can do work to your team. Then also, you can use it for Titans, just as a defense down mon, because its defense down is very good. 80% 2 turns is very good. 90% with books, of course. But the silence is useless for Titans, so it will fall off very quickly as you get mons that have defense down and another skill that would be beneficial for Titans. Water Lat, for example, has defense down and attack down. Very good. Same with Water Yeti, I think. And then there's Water Hades that has defense down and Courageous Strike. So Water Pegasus, while good, will definitely fall off. And how I would build it, I would just build it as defensive as possible. Both places that I recommended or said that it could be useful in are places that you'd want to focus on it surviving. So HP defense or HP defense, either can be helpful for it. So there is that. Now let's go on to wood, which, as I mentioned, wood has a similar problem as water does. We'll get more into that in a second. Let's just take a look at the design. Here's the variant. Ooh, the variant looks nice. I like the regular one. I do. But I like the variant a lot too. Aw, damn. I'm going to go with the regular just because the variant kind of looks a bit like light. So I would get confused. Looking at the skills, or the stats, sorry. Just remembering back to water's stats, wood, very, very much better. A lot better in terms of stats. If we look at it, the HP is about 3k higher. The defense is about 400 higher. And the attack is only about 100 lower. So, stat-wise, wood is actually really good stat-wise. And in comparison to water, it's a lot better. So that's nice. Looking at the skills, on 3-star, we have attack down, 80% 2 turns. I don't have a wood one. I did like 8 summons, or 9 summons for Pegasus. Didn't get a single wood. I got 2 darks. Didn't get a single wood. I can assume, though, that it gets similar upgrades as water does, so I'm going to assume the attack down goes up to 90%. And then on 5-star, we have Thirst, 60% chance to lower by 30% for 2 turns, and I'm going to assume skillbooks put it up to 80. If it's anything lower than that, then that is pretty bad. Well, yeah, so looking at the skills, it is in the same situation as water, where the skills don't really mesh well. So we have attack down, which it's a really good attack down for Titans. But then of course we do have other very good attack down mons of the wood element, like Wood Sanzang, Radis, and Lupin, who are both, all three of those are pure attack down, and then we have other ones like Wood Hannah that are attack down and a healer, or we have Canna, which is attack down and Courageous Strike. So it'll definitely, while useful for Titans as a wood attack down mon, it'll definitely fall off because its Thirst is useless in Titans. But the Thirst is pretty good for PvP defense. This, keep in mind, this is me assuming skillbooks boosted up to 80% chance. If it doesn't do that, then disregard this. You probably wouldn't want to use it for PvP defense then. But if skillbooks do boost it up to 80%, it can go on PvP defense and do pretty well there. The attack down isn't too bad because it'll, of course, lower your opponent's damage, which is nice. But you'd really be using it for that Thirst, just to keep them from getting their bars full. And how I would build it defensively, of course, HP defense, or HP defense. In my opinion, wood is just the superior between wood and water, of course. But anyway, let's move on to light. Where is it? There we are. So, here's the regular, which, as you can see, it is very similar to the variant for wood. The fur? I guess it would be fur? Do horses have fur? Or is it just hair? I don't know. The body, the main portion of the body, is a different color, but the rest of it is very similar. Here's the variant, which looks very cool. Makes me think of Saint Seiya. I think that's the anime that... I think I'm remembering which anime is right. Anyway, looking at the skills or stats, it is a defender, just like wood. Has a little bit higher of an HP stat, about 200 points more higher for defense. So overall, tank... excuse me. Had to pause and cough for a second. So overall, she's tankier than wood. But her attack is a little bit lower, which isn't too big of a deal because she's not meant to do damage. She's meant to tank. Looking at her skills, on her 3-star, she has Shock, 80% one turn. Skill books make it 90% and give a 20% damage boost. And then on 5-star, we have Adrenaline, 10% own HP to allies, which is the same 5-star as, say, Light Succubus, for example. And skill books give a 30% damage boost there. Honestly, while the skills are good and they work well together, it'd be so much better if instead of the skill was making the shock go up to 90%, it made it 2 turns. That would make her so much better. But anyway, she's still good. Still good. She can definitely still be used in PvP, of course. Offense, defense can work with either. And then Tower of Chaos as well. But though for Tower of Chaos, you would only be using her for her shock. And that would be for floors like 80 and 100 specifically. There isn't really any other place where you'd want to use her, but she does excel very well in those places. So there's that to keep in mind. How I would build it, tanky, HP defense, HP defense. More so HP defense, just because its 5-star is based on its own HP. So you got to keep that in mind. You want its HP as high as possible. You can argue that triple HP would also be good as well. In which case, if you do build her triple HP, you got to make sure to have high defense substats. And of course, resist. But resist is a given. For those that don't know, you always want your defensive mons to have a lot of resist. For PvP at least. But anyway, let's move on to Dark, the last of the Pegasi. Here's the regular. And the variant, which, whoa, that looks terrifying. So I love the regular because all the purples, very nice, very nice. I like the variant too. It looks very cool, but it's also intimidating. So I'm going to stick with the regular for now. Looking at the stats. Sorry, got distracted. Somebody's outside my room. My siblings are switching their rooms around, so you might hear noise in the background. Anyway, on to the stats. Dark Pegasus is an attacker. Has a good attack stat. HP is pretty good as well. Defense is a little low, but it is... well, it's the average for attackers, but still I just want it to be higher, you know? Just me being picky. Looking at the skills, on 3-star we have morale boost 30% to itself, and then on 5-star we have hunter 30%. Skill boosts give a 30% damage boost to the 3-star and a 25% damage boost to the 5-star. Just to point out for comparison's sake, Fire and Dark both have hunter, but Fire has a 40% hunter, whereas Dark has a 30%, and that's to balance out Dark having a higher base crit damage. So just thought I'd point that out. Where you can use it, quite a few places. PvP offense, for one, just as a Dark attacker, does very well there. You can use it for farming, any content really. And of course, content that has a lot of light mons, like DB10. And the light elemental dungeon, of course. You can also use him for light Colossus, just as a Dark attacker. She does well there, but of course she will fall off just because her damage boosting skill is on her 5-star. If it was on her 3-star, she would be much better for light Colossus. You can also use her for Titans just as a dark damage dealer, but she will fall off there as well as you start to get more Courageous Strike and Unflinching Strike mods. And that is pretty much... Oh, right, how to build. So, she is crit reliant with her 5-star, so you need a square slot. You definitely need a crit rate gem on there. As for the other 2 gems, you can go attack crit damage. You can throw a survivability gem if you'd like. HP gem, I think, would be more beneficial than a defense gem. But ideally, you want attack or attack crit damage and get your HP and defense from trinkets. And that is pretty much it. How I would prioritize the Pegasi. Light is probably number 1 for me, just because the place where you can use her, she does very well. Then I would put Dark, as she's very good for farming. I put Fire next, just because, while she is usable in a bit more places, Dark has that base 100 crit damage, so she does deal more damage overall. Then I put Wood. Wood isn't that great, but she's better than Water in terms of stats and her 3-star. So, Water would be last. And that is going to be it for this one. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you are interested in seeing more. If this is the first video of mine that you're watching, I apologize for my voice and for pausing and stuff. I am sick, as I stated at the beginning. Hopefully, the next video, or by the time I record the next video, I'm feeling better. But anyway, gonna wrap it up there. Have yourselves a good day, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.